What does living forever feel like? If you were given the option to live for eternity, would you take it? Can it actually be fun? If you somehow became immortal, you would live till the universe dies of heat death. You would have almost infinite time. What are you gonna do? You would have time to learn all the languages in the world, taste all kinds of food, pursue every profession, see every corner of the world, and could become the richest or the smartest guy of all time. You wouldn't be able to read all the books ever written, as the number of books written every year exceeds the capacity of human reading, and same goes for movies. But you would be able to read all the books and see all the movies that were written or made before you turned immortal. Also, if you learn all the languages in the world, by the time you reach the final thousand, the first thousand languages you learned would have changed so much that you would need to learn them again. To pursue all the professions, you would need to make new documents and get new degrees to avoid government suspicion. And your taste buds naturally change as you age. So, a dish that you tasted when you were 700 years old would taste different when you are 2000 years old. These things would probably keep you away from being bored. You can make so many connections and know so many people that you wouldn't ever feel lonely. If you are worried about seeing your family and everyone you have ever known dying, over centuries your mind would likely develop a protective detachment. You might start seeing people around you as domestic pets. You love them deeply, you know their lifespan is tragically short compared to yours, and when they pass, you mourn them but eventually adopt another because life goes on. But are you actually going to do all these things? Humans know that our time is limited in this world. We still waste hours every day doing things that don't really matter to us. Now, if you knew you had infinite time, what are the chances that you would not spend millions of years doing nothing? If you had 10,000 years to read a book, why would you read it tonight? If you had 10,000 years to learn piano, why would you practice today? If you make new romantic connections and produce two offspring every year, just after 2000 years, almost everyone living on the planet would share your DNA, even if you tried to keep track of them. According to Robin Dunbar, humans tend to maintain around 150 stable relationships at a time. You wouldn't know your own descendants while being alive. They will walk past you and you won't even know their name, and their death won't mean anything to you. Your age might be infinite, but the capacity of your brain to store information is not. A human brain can store around 300 years of continuous memory, and when you passed your first few centuries, your brain would be forced to overwrite old memories to form new ones. As you grow older, it would become harder for you to remember the faces and voices of your first love, your early children, your parents, your homeland, and your original identity. You would eventually become a stranger to your own past. And immortality would eventually create another problem. In a world of biometric databases, DNA records, and facial recognition, disappearing every few decades would become increasingly difficult. Eventually, someone would notice that you have been alive for a couple of centuries, and then you would spend the rest of your life in a lab as a medical anomaly. Your perception of time is relative to how long you have lived. To a 5-year-old, a year is 20% of their entire life, so it feels slow. To a 10,000-year-old, a year is only 0.01% of their entire life. Centuries would feel like weeks to you. Humans consider death as a transition, not an end. We create concepts like immortality, afterlife, and imperishable soul because it gives us a psychological relief. We don't want to face death. We consider death as the opposite of life without realizing that it is a part of it. Maybe the problem with immortality isn't that you would live forever, maybe it's that you wouldn't. Everyone you knew would disappear. Your culture would disappear. Your memories would change. Your language would change. The places you called home would disappear. Eventually, even the person who wanted immortality in the first place might be gone. You would still be alive, but would you still be you? And if the person who wanted to live forever no longer exists, did you actually get what you wanted?